Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Deep Dive into Meska's blog.
It's Friday.
Are you ready for some more of Eric's unique wisdom?
He did go deep this time.
Very philosophical, very introspective, maybe even a little vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it all seems to have been sparked by a video game.
You're talking about acting lessons, right?
That's the one.
With the disclaimer, that's like longer than some novels.
It even warns players, especially those in a dark place, to steer clear.
Right.
But that didn't stop Meska.
Nope.
He jumped right in, and wow, did it get him thinking.
Yeah, it's fascinating how a game, especially one with such mature themes like heartbreak and tough choices, could lead to this kind of soul-searching.
And he even admits in the post that he's not much of a reader usually, but this game really grabbed him. There's this quote that really jumped out at me. Ich trage seit vielen Jahren eine Last mit mir herum, die ich bis gestern nicht wirklich bewältigen konnte. Which translates to, I've been carrying a burden with me for many years that I couldn't really cope with until yesterday.
That's heavy.
Heavy stuff.
This is definitely a different side of Meska than we usually see.
Right.
It's almost like he used the game as a way to process some unresolved emotions.
Totally. It makes you wonder if he subconsciously chose this game because of those heavy themes.
Oh, interesting.
Like he was seeking something to help him confront those feelings head on.
Maybe he's certainly confronting them head on in this blog post. Remember how he compares life to a computer system?
Oh, yeah, the whole Beziehung.exe crashing his system out.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying that his past relationship failing was so devastating, it felt like his whole world just went haywire.
Right.
Relatable, too. I mean, haven't we all felt that way when one big thing goes wrong in our lives?
Oh, for sure.
It just throws everything off.
Yeah. That computer analogy is really clever, though.
It is.
It's like he's using tech language to dissect his emotional state. And he even jokes about getting an Intel Bayern processor upgrade when he moved.
Right. New apartment, new car, new job.
Yeah. But his internal software still needs some work.
He is definitely a master of blending humor with really deep thoughts.
Yeah.
But that self-awareness is key here. He recognizes that external changes don't always fix the internal stuff.
Right.
And this is where he gets brutally honest about his role in the relationship's demise.
He admits to falling into that trap of taking things for granted. He says, Ich fing an, systematisch Dinge auszublenden. Das läuft, da muss ich mich nicht mehr drum kümmern. Basically, you put things on autopilot and stopped paying attention to the important stuff.
Classic case of set it and forget it, gone wrong.
Right.
I think we've all been there at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
You get comfortable, you get complacent, and suddenly you've missed all the warning signs.
Totally.
And Meska's really owning up to that here. It's refreshing to see someone so willing to take responsibility for their actions.
It is.
But then comes the kicker.
Uh-oh.
He points out that life doesn't have a reset button.
Nope.
No Control-Alt-Delete to magically fix things.
Right.
That's pretty bleak.
It is.
Especially considering the game itself warns about playing if you're in a bad headspace.
Exactly.
It does make you wonder,
Yeah.
Is he finding solace in a game that explicitly tells people in his situation to avoid it?
Right.
Or is this whole process, as painful as it might be, actually helping him heal?
It's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot to unpack, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh.
This blog post goes even deeper, exploring Meska's views on happiness connection and whether it's even possible to be truly happy alone.
Ooh, that's a big one, and I can't wait to dive into that with you. But first, we need to take a quick break.
We'll be right back with more from Meska's surprisingly introspective blog post, so stay tuned.
So we left off talking about Meska's Control-Alt-Delete dilemma, right? No reset button for life.
Right.
Which makes his choice of game even more interesting.
It's like he's intentionally leaning into the discomfort, almost like exposure therapy, you know?
Maybe there's something, too, that he even mentions a conversation with a friend who said, Ach, weißt du, Eric, will eigentlich nur jemanden zum Händchen halten. Basically, Eric just wants someone to hold hands with.
And he admits that his friend might be right.
Yeah.
So we have this guy who's clearly hurting from a past relationship, diving into a game that's all about heartbreak and acknowledging that deep down, he still craves connection.
He does.
It's a lot.
It's almost like he's testing himself, like, how much can I handle?
Right, or maybe it's a way to experience those emotions in a safe space, you know, within the confines of the game.
That's interesting. It's like he's running simulations in his head, you know, trying to figure out where he went wrong and how to avoid making those same mistakes again.
Which brings us to his belief that people can't truly be happy alone. That's a bold statement,
It is.
and one that's sure to spark some debate.
It's a big question, isn't it? Can we find fulfillment and joy on our own? Or is happiness inherently tied to a romantic partnership?
He seems to land on the side of needing connection, but acknowledges the need for self-work first.
Right. He's not looking for a quick fix,
Right.
a rebound relationship to just fill the void.
He's taking the time to defrag his emotional hard drive, as he puts it.
Which, if we stick with that computer analogy, is pretty smart.
That's pretty smart.
Absolutely. You wouldn't install a new operating system on a computer that's riddled with viruses, you know?
No.
You'd clean things up first, make sure everything's running smoothly.
Right.
So he's basically applying that same logic to his own life.
Makes sense.
Get his internal systems in order before opening himself up to a new connection.
It's a mature and self-aware approach.
It is.
And it highlights something crucial that we often overlook in our quest for happiness.
What's that?
The importance of being comfortable with ourselves on our own. Because if we can't find contentment within, we'll always be searching for it externally.
Yeah, and that search can lead us down some pretty unhealthy paths.
It can. We might end up settling for less than we deserve or constantly seeking validation from others.
Exactly. Meska's journey reminds us that true happiness starts from within.
Yes.
It's about self-love, self-acceptance, and cultivating a deep sense of inner peace.
And that's a journey that we can all embark on regardless of our relationship status.
Absolutely a lifelong process, really.
It is.
One that requires constant introspection, self-reflection, and a willingness to confront our own flaws.
And sometimes the most unexpected things can be catalysts for that growth, like in Meska's case, a video game with a rather intense content warning.
Yeah, it's a reminder that inspiration and insight can come from anywhere.
It's true.
And that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope for healing and transformation.
This blog post really has me thinking about my own life, my own patterns, and the areas where I might be on autopilot.
I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah.
It's like Meska's holding up a mirror, forcing us to take a good hard look at ourselves.
It is. And you know what? I think that's a good thing. A little discomfort can be a powerful motivator for growth.
Absolutely. It's in those moments of vulnerability, of confronting our own shadows, that we truly start to evolve.
Meska's willingness to share his struggles so openly is inspiring.
It is.
It reminds us that we're not alone in our messy, complicated human experiences.
We're all in this together.
We are. And it's okay to ask for help, to lean on others when we need it.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through this journey alone.
Absolutely not. This whole conversation has me thinking about the power of video games in a new light, you know?
Me too.
They're often dismissed as just mere entertainment, but they can clearly be so much more.
They can be portals to other worlds' platforms for storytelling, and even tools for self-discovery and personal growth.
Exactly, and Meska's experience is a testament to that.
It is. Who would have thought that a game about heartbreak could lead to such profound insights?
It just goes to show that you never know where inspiration might strike, and that sometimes the most unlikely sources can offer the most profound wisdom.
Speaking of wisdom, I think it's time for us to share some final thoughts with our listeners.
Okay.
Are you ready to wrap things up?
Yeah, let's do it. This has been a deep dive indeed, and I think there are some key takeaways that everyone can apply to their own lives.
Absolutely. But before we get into those, we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our final thoughts on Meska's thought-provoking blog post. So stay tuned. We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Meska's latest blog post.
It has been quite a journey.
It has been.
A lot to unpack here.
And I think what strikes me most is just like his honesty, you know?
Yeah.
He's not afraid to lay it all out there, his struggles, his regrets, his hopes for the future.
Yeah, it's refreshing, you know?
It is.
In a world where everyone's trying to present like the perfect curated version of themselves, Meska's just being real.
And that realness is what makes this post so powerful. It reminds us that we're all human. We all mess up. We all have those moments where we just feel like our whole system is about to crash.
Right. And it's in those moments that self-awareness becomes crucial.
It does.
Meska's ability to step back, analyze his own patterns, and take responsibility for his actions is something we can all learn from.
Absolutely. It's not about dwelling on the past or beating ourselves up for our mistakes.
Right.
It's about recognizing those patterns and then choosing to do things differently next time.
And sometimes that means taking a step back from seeking external validation, from relationships, from achievements, and focusing on building a strong foundation within ourselves first.
That whole defragmenting your emotional hard drive analogy really stuck with me.
It's a good one.
It's like he's saying before you can fully connect with someone else, You need to make sure your own internal system is running smoothly.
Right, because if you're not at peace with yourself,
hmm
you'll always be searching for something outside of you to fill that void.
And that search can lead to all sorts of unhealthy patterns, codependency, settling for less than you deserve.
Exactly. Meska's journey reminds us that true happiness starts from within.
Yes.
It's about self-acceptance and cultivating a deep sense of inner peace.
So what do you think are the key takeaways for our listeners today?
Well, I'd say the first one is the importance of self-reflection.
Yes.
Take the time to analyze your own patterns, your behaviors, the choices you're making. Are they serving you or are they holding you back?
And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
Yes. Therapy support groups, even just a trusted friend or family member, can provide valuable support and guidance.
Absolutely.
Second, remember that healing takes time. There's no quick fix, no magic reset button.
Right.
Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to process your emotions at your own pace.
And lastly, don't underestimate the power of unexpected sources of inspiration. Meska found solace and insight in a video game that warned him against playing it. You never know where that spark of wisdom might come from.
That's true.
So on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into Meska's blog. Be sure to check out his blog for the full post. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit us up on social media and let us know what resonated with you. Until next Friday.